Revolution is a complex social phenomenon. Usually there is never one cause or leader or ideology. Each revolution is unique and the situation never repeats itself. Also, it is important to understand that revolutions do not have a goal, may not be considered as success or failure. They are spontaneous social interactions, and all theories of revolutions are speculative. But to make it easier for you to study, I will explain some similarities between the Mexican, Russian, and Chinese revolutions that happened in the beginning of the 20th century. The three revolutions have similar dates. Mexican started in 1910 and the Civil War lasted until 1924 approximately. Chinese started in 1911 and the Civil War lasted until 1949. And Russian started in 1917 and had a short but bloody civil war until 1922.
The main cause of the initial uprising of all three revolutions is a regime that is getting older. In Russia, the Romanov dynasty lasted more than 300 years, and the new king, though not so clever and talented, actually wants to continue the tradition of absolutism. In Mexico, the dictatorship of Porfirio Diaz lasted more than 30 years. Only his close friends actually have power, and though he promised a free election, he continued to maintain himself in power with fraud. The Qing dynasty in China lasted for more than 250 years, with its emperors living in a forbidden palace separated from the rest of the city. It seems that these rulers will last forever, and no change or political participation is possible.
Revolutions do not have one particular goal. People often support the rebels because their close relatives were killed or put in jail by the dictator. Many rich people will give money to rebels because the government doesn't let them do their business. Some join because of an ideology or because they want a change for their country. The Russian Revolution has its particular causes too. The losses in the First World War, the presence of Rasputin, shortages of bread and fuel. On March 8th of 1917, about 10,000 women were protesting the shortages of food in Petrograd. Soon they will be joined by other groups, and the leaders of the Russian parliament, Duma, will ask Tsar to abdicate.
In each revolution, the initial uprising will have a liberal leader: Madero, Sun Yat-sen, Kerensky. All of them from wealthy families, very well educated, nationalist, idealist. All of them failed in a short period of time. They fail because they only give political freedoms without seeing the demands of other social groups. They try to maintain the existing administrative structure of governments without changing it, and they're too soft and indecisive. This creates a vacuum of power that is taken in the end by a dictator, like Huerta in Mexico, who wants to get power for himself, or Yuan Shikai, who wants to start a new monarchical dynasty, except the Bolsheviks that are not a dictator.
Yes, but they want to establish the dictatorship of the proletariat.
The problem is that people do not want to go back as things were before, and the country will be dragged into a civil war.
Each civil war is unique and unpredictable. We have charismatic leaders, we have different ideologies, we have regional leaders, sometimes they make alliances, sometimes they betray or even kill each other. The civil wars last for several years or even decades, until a better organized political fraction establishes by force control over the country. There are different reasons why Bolsheviks, that soon called themselves communists, won the civil war in Russia. Better organization, clear goals, unity, persecution of groups that were against them. This experience will help Chinese communists during their fight in the civil war.